There's nothing to worry about and the economy is doing great. That is, if you listen to the same person who said that inflation was transitory, and well, we all know that to be a lie. But anyway, she's back on TV saying that things are actually going very well and the massive spending that we saw was all planned for the long run.
The Infrastructure Act, the CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, these are all long-term spending measures that will really boost the growth of the economy and add to its job-creating capacity long-term. And many of those bills have been paid for, and so I wouldn't regard it as net stimulus. I think the American Rescue Plan, which was stimulus, shielded families that could have been very badly impacted by the pandemic. It kept a roof over their heads and food on the table, and it ensured the fastest recovery of any economy. The United States is doing better than any economy around the world, and we've not seen the long-term job loss or scarring that easily could have occurred.
Y'all want to get into that? Because I'm raring to go. So let's go ahead and just take a quick poll in the comments, shall we? If you think that our economy is recovering and doing better than any other economy in the world, and that layoffs are not the norm for 2023, then just go ahead and comment positive down in the comments. Now, if you think the exact opposite, go ahead and comment negative. All right. But you know what? Who wouldn't want the economy to be strong, right? Like, who doesn't want gas prices below $2? Who doesn't want jobs that actually pay us what we're worth? I mean, do any of y'all want that? Now, the problem with Janet Yellen's entire thing with the economy is that the numbers, they don't say the same thing, because we have to look at the numbers. We can't just like say that the economy is strong and resilient and customers are strong, and we just can't say these things without backing it up with data, which leads me to talk about the leading economic index. So these are indicators that tell us whether the economy is actually doing well or if it's not. Now, for the past year and a half, again, the past year and a freaking half, right? The US leading economic index has fallen. How's that for good news? These falling numbers show that a recession is completely plausible. I mean, other people have already said that this feels a whole lot like a recession. But just to quote Secretary Yellen, this is what she said years ago regarding a possible downturn in our economy.
I think the system is much safer and much sounder. And as I mentioned, we're doing a lot more to try to look for financial stability risks that may not be immediately apparent, but to look in corners of the financial system that are not subject to regulation outside those areas in order to try to detect threats to financial stability that may be emerging. So would I say there will never, ever be another financial crisis? You know, probably that would be going too far, but I do think we're much safer, and I hope that it will not be in our lifetimes, and I don't believe it will be.
You know, when she says something, I'm kind of inclined to believe the opposite, because this is a financial crisis. We're in a financial crisis, and to be honest, some are having it worse compared to others. And this is a huge point for why you should be cutting down on your debt. I know it's easier said than done, but just imagine the freedom. Imagine how it will feel to make money and then not have to put X amount of dollars toward a loan or this payment or car payment or credit card bill, or you know what I'm saying? Financial freedom has a lot of factors, but not being in crippling debt is one of them. Now, again, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but this is exactly what some folks who make six figures are doing right now. They're cutting back. Now, before I play this footage though, please take a second, smash the like button for the video and subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and hit that notification bell to make sure that you guys never miss out on any updates on the stuff that actually matters to you. Appreciate the love, you guys.
Darden Restaurants, which owns things like Olive Garden, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Olive Garden, like endless bread baskets, okay? Just think of it that way, like overload on carbs. They say that they're actually seeing more softness with household income above $125,000. So according to Darden's CEO, consumers are still resilient, but they're being more selective in choosing things like lower priced alcohol compared to last year. I'm loving all these indicators that we do on this now.
Some of you guys might say, well, who cares about what these people spend on alcohol? But to that point, if people who are doing well are cutting their costs, or they're just cutting back, then what does that say about consumers? So here's another fun fact about consumers nowadays. More of us are finding our savings with pet food. Like, can you believe that? Blue Buffalo, the pet brand under General Mills, they say say that their sales are falling flat for their wet foods while dry food sales are going up. What does that mean? Well, wet foods for pets are generally much more expensive compared to their dry counterpart. With things as they are, many Americans, they're just trying to cut back on anything that they can cut back on.
As it relates to pet food, it was a tough quarter, but a couple pieces of context. The first is that we've doubled the size of our pet food business since we bought Blue Buffalo 5 years ago. And we think this trend toward humanization is going to continue. In the short term, it is clear that mobility, pet parents are more mobile than they have been and going back to the office more. And so they're treating less, a little bit less wet pet food. So that was a drag on our sales. However, our dry pet food sales were up. So that's positive. And in the short term, consumers are seeking a little bit more value. And so we're taking actions like improving our advertising and doing what we call price pack architecture to make sure we hit certain price points. So even though our sales were flat, we're thrilled with what Blue Buffalo has done for us, and we see a bright future ahead for it.
But what do you guys usually feed your pets? Now, switching it up here just for a second regarding a different expense, I just want to ask, do you have any plans to fly in the near future? Like maybe going on a trip, vacation? Now, if so, there is something that you should know. Jet engine makers, CFM International, and its co-owners, General Electric and San Fran, they're saying that AOG Technics, a London-based company, they're supposedly legit and they sell airplane parts, was apparently all a sham. What's the problem there, you ask? Well, it would have been nice if they found out that this company was fake from the beginning, because there's more than 100 planes out there right now that are fitted with some of their fake parts. Which airlines am I talking about? Get this, guys. Southwest Airlines, Virgin Australia, American Airlines, and United Airlines.
United Airlines announced that it had found the faulty parts in engines on 2 separate aircraft. The carrier also said that it would replace the engines before returning the planes to service. United, however, did not specify which type of aircraft the engines were installed on, although the parts were noted to be seals on compressor stator vanes. These function to help direct airflow throughout the engine. As already noted, the identified supplier of the uncertified parts is AOG Technics Limited. These specific AOG parts are spares that are utilized on older generation engines from CFM International Incorporated, known as the CFM 56 engine, an engine that powers older generation Airbus A320s and Boeing 737s.
Now, just think about that for a second, all right? These are planes. These things go up in the sky, and heck, I'd be worried if my car had a fake part in it, because who knows when that thing's gonna break. But a plane? A freaking plane? So now AOG has a hand over documentation of every single product sale that they've made, because it's come up that they falsified documents so that they can sell these parts to these companies. And it goes even deeper than that, because this company had fake employees on LinkedIn and an address that was, well, are you ready for this? The address listed was a P.O. box. I mean, if that doesn't raise red flags, I don't know what will. But what do you guys think about this? Will this discourage possible travelers from flights? Now, although you would think that they would actually put these planes out of commission for now to fully investigate them, right? But here's a quick thought. Do you think that we might have jets that actually have these parts? Like maybe one that got lost recently? I'm just kidding, of course, right? But do share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for dropping a like for the video. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.